Welcome back to my channel with another video on the rise and fall of ancient empires. Throughout history, there have been many great empires that rose to power and dominated vast territories, only to eventually decline and fall. These ancient empires were remarkable for their military might, innovative technologies, and sophisticated cultural achievements. From the Egyptians and Greeks to the Romans and Persians, each of these civilizations left a lasting impact on the world. But what led to their rise and eventual decline? In this video, we'll explore the fascinating stories of some of the most notable ancient empires and uncover the factors that contributed to the rise and fall of some of the most powerful ancient empires. Let's start with the Egyptian Empire. The rise and fall of the Egyptian Empire. It all began around 3100 BCE when Upper and Lower Egypt were united under the rule of King Menes. The pharaohs of Egypt were considered to be divine rulers, and their power was absolute. However, history shows that even the mightiest empires can fall, and after 1100 BC, Egypt went into decline. The Egyptians were renowned for their architecture, agriculture, and hieroglyphic writing system. The construction of the pyramids, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, is a testament to their engineering prowess. But despite their remarkable achievements, the Egyptian Empire eventually declined due to a combination of factors, including political instability, economic decline, military power, lack of natural resources, and foreign invasions. The ancient Egyptian civilization is one of the oldest and most enduring empires in history. But what led to the rise and eventual fall of this great empire? The Egyptian Empire's rise to power was largely due to its strategic location along the Nile River. The river provided fertile land for farming and transportation for trade, allowing the Egyptians to build a thriving economy. They were also skilled engineers who built impressive structures like the pyramids and the Sphinx. The Egyptians had a complex society with a hierarchical system that included pharaohs, priests, and commoners. The pharaoh was considered a divine ruler, and his authority was absolute. The priests played an important role in the religious life of the empire, while the commoners were responsible for the daily tasks of farming and commerce. The Egyptians were also known for their art and culture, which included impressive works of sculpture, painting, and literature. They developed a system of writing called hieroglyphs, which was used to record their history and religious beliefs. However, the Egyptian Empire's decline began in the 7th century BCE. The empire became increasingly difficult to govern, and power struggles and civil wars were common. The empire's economic decline was due in part to the loss of trade routes and the diminishing fertility of the land. The foreign invasions, including those by the Assyrians and Persians, further weakened the empire. The fall of the Egyptian Empire is often attributed to the conquest of Alexander the Great in 332 BCE, which marked the beginning of Greek rule. However, the empire continued to exist in various forms for centuries under the Greeks and the Romans. In conclusion, the rise and fall of the Egyptian Empire was influenced by a variety of factors, including its strategic location, rise and fall of the Greek Empire, religious beliefs, and Greeks were a powerful people, with a rich culture and a tradition of democracy. Their empire began to rise in the 8th century BC, with the city-state of Athens becoming a major power in the region. In the 4th century BC, a young Macedonian king named Alexander rose to power. He conquered much of the known world, including Egypt, and spread Greek culture and ideas throughout the lands he conquered. The Greeks established themselves in Egypt, and built great cities like Alexandria, with its famous library and lighthouse. Greeks contributed to the fall of Egypt through their military conquests. The Greeks imposed heavy taxes on the Egyptian people, and they confiscated land and resources to enrich themselves. This led to widespread discontent among the Egyptian population and contributed to the empire's decline. The fall of the Greek Empire was due to a combination of factors, including internal strife, external pressures, and a failure to adapt to changing circumstances. After Alexander's death, his empire was divided among his generals, who established their own kingdoms and dynasties. These kingdoms often fought each other for control, weakening the overall power of the Greek Empire. In addition, the rise of the Roman Empire posed a major threat to the Greeks. Rome was a powerful and ambitious empire, and it was only a matter of time before it turned its attention to Greece. Finally, the Greeks failed to adapt to changing circumstances, and as a result, they fell behind and were ultimately conquered. The rise and fall of Roman Empire by Persian Empire. The Roman Empire was one of the most powerful empires in history. It began in 27 BCE with the rise of Octavian, who would become the first Roman emperor, and it lasted for over 400 years. But what led to the rise and eventual fall of this great empire? The Romans conquered vast territories, spreading their culture and language throughout the known world. They built roads, aqueducts, and monumental structures like the Colosseum. But despite their military might, the Roman Empire eventually fell due to internal decay and external pressure. Political corruption, economic decline, and barbarian invasions all contributed to its downfall. The Roman Empire's rise to power was fueled by a strong military and a sophisticated government system. The Romans were skilled warriors who conquered vast territories, including much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The Roman military was the backbone of the empire. Its soldiers were well-trained, disciplined, and organized. They were divided into legions, which were made up of thousands of soldiers. The legions were led by generals, who were often able to conquer new territories through their military prowess. Fall of Roman Empire. The Roman-Persian Wars, also known as the Roman-Iranian Wars, were a series of conflicts between states of the Greco-Roman world and two successive Iranian empires, the Parthian and the Sasanian. Battles between the Parthian Empire and the Roman Republic began in 54 BC. Wars began under the late Republic and continued through the Roman, later Eastern Roman, Byzantine, and Sasanian empires. A plethora of vassal kingdoms and allied nomadic nations in the form of buffer states and proxies also played a role. The wars were ended by the early Muslim conquests, which led to the fall of the Sasanian Empire and huge territorial losses for the Byzantine Empire, shortly after the end of the last war between them. Although warfare between the Romans and Persians continued over 7 centuries, the frontier, aside from shifts in the north, remained largely stable. A game of tug-of-war ensued. Towns, fortifications, and provinces were continually sacked, captured, destroyed, and traded. Neither side had the logistical strength or manpower to maintain such lengthy campaigns far from their borders, and thus neither could advance too far without risking stretching its frontiers too thin. Both sides did make conquests beyond the border, but in time the balance was almost always restored. Although initially different in military tactics, the armies of both sides gradually adopted from each other, and by the second half of the 6th century, they were similar and evenly matched. The expense of resources during the Roman-Persian Wars ultimately proved catastrophic for both empires. The prolonged and escalating warfare of the 6th and 7th centuries left them exhausted and vulnerable in the face of the sudden emergence and expansion of the Rashidun Caliphate, whose forces invaded both empires only a few years after the end of the last Roman-Persian War. Over the following centuries, more of the Eastern Roman Empire came under Muslim rule. Thanks for watching.